Before I get into this episode, I'm sure some of you know by the thumbnail and the title that I've been working on this video for a long time. I put a lot of time into this project, as you will see, and I put a lot of time into the video itself, so I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video. It will help me make more content like this in the future. And because it took me so long to record this video, there is some changes throughout it that you might notice. I did change my gaming setup a while back so my audio gets better as you get further into the video, and I think there's a few small changes to my editing that you might notice as well as the video goes on. And one more thing before I get into it, I do plan to do a Q&A in my next episode. I've not done one for a long time and I've gained quite a lot of followers since then, so I thought I would do another one. So if you want me to answer any questions, just leave them down in the comments and put the hashtag Q&A so I know that you want me to answer them in the next video. And with that being said, let's get into it. Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So today I want to try and complete something pretty stupid, and that is of course the Netherite beacon over here. So plenty of people have already done this, I'm not going to be the first person to do this or anything, but I started this over a year ago now. And I've made small progress. I think there's 38 blocks here overall. And I did take quite a big break from the game in that time. I wasn't really playing too much, and when I was playing I really didn't feel like mining for Netherite. But today I just finally want to get on with this and just grind, put all of the hours in. It's going to take me quite a while to complete, but I want to try and get it completed in today's episode. And I'm not going to upload this episode until I have fully completed this beacon. So whether it does take like 5 months, 9 months or a year and a half, I'm not going to be uploading this video until this is fully complete. And if anyone's new to the channel, maybe this is the first video of mine that you've seen. All of these blocks were collected in survival. I've not cheated to get any of these. It's all on the channel somewhere, you can go and find it. I'm not sure what videos or episodes it was in, but all of these were collected in survival. But anyway, down into the Netherite mine, I've already got half a shulker box of TNT here, and then the full one that I just brought down as well. So this should last me a little while before I need to go and get some more sand for more TNT. But this is the Netherite mine for anyone who's not seen it before. I basically leave 10 blocks in between the mines, and then I just mine in a straight line for I think 400 blocks. Place TNT every few blocks, blow it up, and then collect all of the ancient debris that gets exposed. So it's already quite big. I've put a lot of hours into mining Netherite already in this series. So I'm not sure how far it goes exactly, but you can see the end just there. And then the other side is a little bit shorter. But yeah, not wasting any more time, I'm just going to get straight into it. Okay, it's been a few months since I recorded the intro to this video, but I have finally used all of the TNT that I brought down here, and you can see that I got 7 stacks and 23 ancient debris overall. I'm not really too sure if that's a good return from that amount of TNT or not, but I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm going to take this back up to the base and then we can turn it into Netherite blocks. I've not actually done the maths on how many Netherite blocks it will make, but I think it's going to be about 11 or 12, something like that. Okay, it's all smelted up and ready to turn into Netherite. So that's a full stack and 53 Netherite ingots, and that turns into 30 Netherite blocks. So I can come up here and add this to the podium thing. So there was 38 Netherite blocks here, plus the 13. So that's 41 overall out of 164. So obviously there's still a long way to go here. Okay, so back down to the Netherite mine over here. I actually want to mix it up a little bit and try a few different methods of getting ancient debris. So my preferred method is to use TNT, and I have used beds in the past, but I'm not a big fan of that. But I want to try a few different methods here. So the first one I want to try, or the second one if you count the TNT as the first method, is just a strip mine like this. So I've already done this a little bit, not too much, and I had some good luck with it and then some bad luck with it, so I'm not really too sure if it's going to be a good method or not. But I'm just going to dig in a straight line like this for probably 1,000 blocks, and then dig across by 2 blocks and then come back. And I'm just going to do this a few times, so probably quite a lot of times, and we'll see how lucky I get with this and how much ancient debris I can get with this method. Okay, that's enough strip mining. I did quite a lot of these tunnels here, and I managed to get 3 stacks and 7 ancient debris overall. So it's not exactly the fastest method, but it does definitely work. It's probably better if you're early game and you don't have TNT, and maybe you don't have a decent wool farm to get any beds. But if you just have a few pickaxes and you go strip mining in the Nether, you will get enough ancient debris to make at least a set of Netherite armor and some tools. But when you need as much as I do, this method isn't really going to be that useful. So I'm going to go back to the TNT method for now. So I've got 2 shulker boxes of it here. I actually used this quite a while ago when I did some map art. I don't know if anyone remembers that episode, but now it's time to use it to get some ancient debris. There's a few other methods that I want to try as well in this video, but before I get to them, I'm going to use all of this. So I thought I would break down a little bit of the maths behind a Netherite beacon for the people that haven't heard it before. So of course, to get a beacon you need 164 blocks. In this case, it's going to be Netherite blocks. Each block of Netherite is 36 ancient debris. So 36 times 164 is 5,904. So for a full Netherite beacon, that's how many ancient debris you will need to find. But of course, when I started this episode, I already had 38 Netherite blocks from previous videos. So if I take away the 38 blocks, it is 36 times 126, which equals 4,536 total ancient debris that I will need to find in this video. So that is still a whole lot of ancient debris. And I always knew when I started this project, it was going to be a long-term project. I know some people just grind for these things and they can get it done in a few weeks. But I've never really played the game like that. I tend to split up my projects and just work on whatever I feel like working on that day. That's just how I stop myself from getting bored of the game and getting burnt out too often. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the maths behind it, and that's why I work on it a little bit at a time over a very long period, instead of just rushing to get it done in a few weeks. Okay, that's another 2 shulker boxes full of TNT that I've used here. And this is how much ancient debris I got from that. So this is 10 stacks, almost 11 stacks in total. So I think that's about 2.5 more stacks than I got before, but I did have more TNT that time. And I actually just went on a little bit of a mission that time and I tried to get it done a lot faster. So when I had the shulker box and a half, it took me probably like 4 or 5 months. But this time I just tried to do a little bit every single day and I got through both shulker boxes in about 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, I've got all of this ancient debris here, and then I've got another 3 stacks from the branch mining that I did. Almost 14 stacks of ancient debris there. So I'm going to take this up to the base and then we'll add this to the beacon. And I think this is a good time to mention that I'm not going to be showing every single little bit of ancient debris that I mine in this video. But once I've completed the beacon, I will kind of try to show some of the damage that I've done in the Nether and how much of the area I've actually cleared out looking for it. But if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I don't like cheating. I'm against that kind of thing. I wouldn't try to cheat for views on YouTube or anything like that. The whole reason of getting a Netherite beacon is for the challenge. It would be pointless doing that if I was just going to cheat. With all of that smelted, I can turn it into ingots. So that's 1 stack, 2 stacks, 3 stacks, and then 29. And you can see here that's 24 blocks of Netherite. So I was kind of hoping to complete this first level here, but I don't think this is enough. Well, it's not enough because there's 27 here. So I need 30 blocks overall to complete this first level. So I'll add what I do have, but I was really hoping to at least complete the bottom level. So that's 6 more blocks that I'm going to need to complete this here. And then once I've done that, I feel like it's going to seem like a much easier task to get the rest done. You know, the bottom level is obviously the hardest because you need the most blocks for this. But once you get onto the second level, it's going to seem a little bit easier. Obviously there's still a lot more Netherite that I need to get, but it's going to seem a lot less daunting of a task if I've got the bottom level in place. But anyway, I'm just going to get straight back to work on this. So I've got plenty more TNT in here. I've got 4 shulker boxes. I think I'm just going to take 2 of these and head straight back to the Nether. So I actually decided to go ahead and use all 4 of those shulker boxes instead. And if you're wondering where I got all of this TNT from, it's from the YouTube map art project that I did a while back. I used loads of TNT so I could get the right shade of red for the map art. But anyway, it actually took me a full year to get through all of this TNT here. I do have other priorities both in real life and on Minecraft. I do work full time in real life, so I don't get to play the game as much as I probably would like to. And then when I am playing the game, I have to record other YouTube videos and stuff. So as much as I would have liked to commit to this project and get it done within, you know, a few weeks, that was just never really going to happen. But I do come down here when I've got some free time and I don't feel like working on any other projects. But yeah, it took me a full year to use all of that TNT there. And I thought I'd use this time to ask if you would like and subscribe if you do enjoy this video or just my content in general. I don't really ask too often, but I know that a lot of people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, and some of my videos take a long time to make, especially ones like this one that I've already put many hours into recording. And because there's a lot of footage to get through here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the TNT method. So I know a lot of people don't seem to like the TNT method, but for me personally, it's my preferred method, or the method that I would go for, or at least that's my opinion at the moment. When I try a few different methods, I might change that opinion. I know a few people don't like it because it's too expensive, but when you're late game like I am, getting the sand and the gunpowder is just no issue whatsoever. Apart from it being kind of expensive, I don't really see any other downsides to the method. Although on Bedrock Edition, it's hard to get a chain reaction with the TNT, unlike Java Edition where you just have to blow up the first TNT and it usually creates a big chain reaction. But that's not really a big deal. So yeah, maybe my opinion will change by the end of this video, but at the moment this is my preferred method. If anyone just quickly wants to have a guess of how much ancient debris I managed to get with 4 shulker boxes full of TNT, just feel free to quickly pause the video and go comment it down in the comment section. So as I mentioned, that took me a full year and then an extra week on top of that since I recorded the clip of me getting the 2 shulker boxes of TNT. I decided to use all 4 shulker boxes and this is how much I got. So I think that's 22 stacks and 17 ancient debris. I'm not actually too sure if that's good or not. I thought I would get a full shulker box of ancient debris. I got a little bit less than that. It looks like quite a lot when you look at it in this form, but as always when you turn it into Netherite blocks it looks a little bit less impressive. So I went ahead and I turned it into blocks, and I'm actually a little bit surprised here. I didn't do the maths, so I just kind of guessed how many blocks I was going to get, and I thought there would be about 30 blocks in total. But you can see here that that was enough ancient debris to make 39 Netherite blocks, and I've also got a little bit more left over here. So yeah, this is 39 more blocks I can add here. So there's 75 blocks, and then if I just place another 6, this is 81, and this is the first layer fully complete now, which I feel like this is quite a big milestone itself. And then of course there's another 33 blocks to add as well. So this should be enough to go over halfway on the second level. So there's 5 more here. And you can see that's done a decent amount of the second level as well. So yeah, this is a decent amount of progress that I've made now. And I quickly did the maths, so there was 75 blocks here and then I've added another 39. So that's 114 blocks in total. And for the full beacon you need 164 blocks. So there's still plenty more work to do here. Of course I need 50 more blocks. And I'm probably going to get most of this with TNT. But there is a few other methods that I want to give a try as well. So for the next method I've got plenty of wood and plenty of wool. So of course this is going to be for the bed method. I feel like if I got an entire Netherite beacon and I tried a few methods and didn't try the bed method, a few people would get angry down in the comments. But I have spoke about this before, I'm just not a big fan of this method. I know it's popular but I just don't like it. I think it's too tedious having to dig in a straight line, dig to the side every 10 blocks or so, place all of the beds, and then blow them up, it sets fire to everything, so it's kind of hard to see the ancient debris. The method does work of course, but it's just quite slow and tedious. As I said, I would much prefer to use TNT. And I feel like if TNT was as cheap as beds, then everyone would use TNT. The only reason people prefer to use beds is because you're getting cheap explosions. Or that's what I think anyway. But as tedious as it is, it does work. So I use most of the wool here. I probably could have done another session, but I couldn't be bothered. And this is how much ancient debris I got. So 7 stacks and 18 overall, which is actually quite a good return. And then I've got another 3 stacks and 21 down at the bottom here. So I actually decided to do a little test while I was using the bed method. So I was comparing it to the strip mining method. So I was doing 1 hour of strip mining and then 1 hour of the bed method and then 1 hour of strip mining and 1 hour of the bed method. And I did this 5 times and the strip mining method won 4 out of the 5 times. So overall from the strip mining method I managed to get 3 stacks and 21. Which doesn't sound great in 5 hours, but it's not terrible either. I reckon about 40 per hour is pretty average for any of the methods. So yeah, overall I've got 10 stacks and 39 to add to the beacon. But before I go do that, I want to try a couple of other methods. And the first one that I want to try took a little bit of setup, but I've already gone ahead and I've prepared this. So I've never really experimented with flying machines before. I tried them out a little bit on a creative world years ago, it didn't go well, and then I just kind of scrapped it and I've never done one again. But I just wanted to try this method. A few people have suggested using tunnel bores, so that is what I want to try here. And before I get into using it, I do want to make it very clear that I am very against sand duping and TNT duping on this game. So I did actually go out and collect all of the sand manually. And then of course I can get the gunpowder from my gunpowder farms. I'm not even totally sure that TNT duping is a thing on Bedrock Edition, but I know there is ways to dupe all of the sand. But I just don't play that way. I would lose interest in the game if I started duping items. So all of this TNT is legit. And overall I got 2 shulker boxes full of it. But I don't really know how much I'm going to use for this thing. So I've got 9 stacks in the dispenser here. But this is only going to fire 1 TNT at a time, and then the full farm or the full machine will move forward by 1 block. So to use 2 full shulker boxes of TNT would take a long time, so I don't know how much of this I'll use. But anyway, I guess the first thing I need to do is test that this thing actually works. I haven't tested it yet. So if I open this fence gate, it should fire the TNT. It should balance right on the edge on the ancient debris there. Can see it blows it up and then the whole thing move forward by 1 block. So it does seem to be working, and we'll try it again. So you kind of have to watch out, and there's a little bit of ancient debris already. So you have to watch out for like lava coming down onto it. You need to remove any lava. Also gravel could cause some issues. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit tedious now and again having to clear up some stuff. But it should be a little bit easier than the other TNT method, placing it all manually. It might be a little bit easier, so that's why I wanted to test it. So yeah, I guess I just keep doing this over and over and over until I run out of TNT or I get bored. And I can already see 4 ancient debris here I need to collect. And I will leave a link to this tunnel bore in the description if I remember, because there's no way on earth that I would ever have figured out how to build this myself. So my first time using a tunnel bore in this game, and I think I have to say that this is probably my favourite method so far. It's just a nice and chill method to do. It is a little bit slow with only 1 of them, but I know you can connect multiple of these together, so I definitely want to try that out. And because it only blows up 1 TNT at a time, I don't have to deal with quite as much lava as I did before when I used TNT. So of course there's plenty of lava pockets around, but it's easy enough just to block them up. But when I was using TNT before, it would blow massive holes in the roof and then loads of lava would come down at the same time. But this method doesn't do that. Or at least it hasn't so far. It might be a little bit too early to judge the method. I could have just got lucky so far. But I've only used the 1 tunnel bore. I travelled just over 1,000 blocks I think. So I used all of the TNT in the dispenser. And then I restocked it again and put another 9 stacks in there. And then of course I've still got all of this TNT left over. And as you can see here, I only got 2 stacks and 27 ancient debris with all of that TNT. If I use that much TNT the manual method like I usually would, I'd expect to get maybe 3.5 to 4 stacks of ancient debris in total. So this method is definitely faster than just using the TNT manually, but it also uses a lot more TNT in the process. So there's some pros and there's some cons to this method, but I definitely enjoyed that, so I want to go and do it again, but I want to try a few extra tunnel bores this time. But before I do that, I just want to walk back down the tunnel and I want to look around to see if I missed any in the walls or the roof, because it's pretty common for me to miss some. There's actually 3 right there that I missed. So yeah, I'm sure I missed plenty on the way down here. So I'll grab this here, and I'm sure there's plenty more that I've missed as well. I actually didn't manage to find any more that I missed, which is a little bit surprising. But there is another 2 stacks and 30 to add to the little collection here. Okay, straight back over to the tunnel bore area. I said that I wanted to experiment with some bigger tunnel bores, so I've gone ahead and I've built a bigger one here. So this is a slightly different design to the one that I just used, and this one combines 5 of them. I think I can pretty much extend this as far as I wanted to do, but I've just gone for 5 for now. I was only going to do 4 of these because I had enough TNT to fill up 4 of these dispensers, but I went ahead and I collected a little bit more TNT and I built an extra one on the end here. And again, I would have absolutely no idea how to build this without a tutorial, so I'll go ahead and leave the tutorial for this tunnel bore in the description as well. So I guess it's time to test this thing. This one uses a trap chest to activate, and because there's a lot more pieces and a lot more moving parts, there's a lot more that could go wrong with this one compared to the other one. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I guess I just open the chest and activate the thing, and hopefully it all works. And it does seem to, so I wasn't totally sure if it fired this last TNT over here, but it did. So it seems to all be working fine. So I'll remove the lava and then do the same again, and hopefully I can get a better view of the last one over here. And yeah, it does fire just fine over there. So it does all seem to be working. It doesn't look like it's exposed any ancient debris yet, but it is working, so that's the main thing. My initial reaction to using this bigger tunnel bore is that it was a little bit disappointing. I had fun using it, it's a nice switch up from the other methods that I've been using, but there's just a few issues with it. So the first one, and I guess the main one, is how fast it burns through all of the TNT, and how low the return of ancient debris is per TNT that you use. I haven't done the exact maths on that just yet, but I will do it and I'll talk about it in a minute. Some more of the issues that I've had is the lava. There's just so much lava that comes down from above. Maybe this could be fixed if I built it 1 block or 2 blocks lower, but then I think that would mess with the rates of the ancient debris that I find, so I don't think it would be worth doing that. Usually if I use the manual TNT method, I can just go around the lava, but because I'm using a tunnel bore here, I have to keep removing all of the lava or I can't keep going forwards. And the other issue that I had is that so many mobs will spawn and I'm just constantly getting attacked. It seemed that every single time I activated the machine, I had to spend a minute or 2 just defeating a bunch of mobs before I could continue. And then of course I've always got to watch out for gas in case one spawns and then blows up the machine. So overall I did enjoy using it, but there's definitely some flaws there. I said I would do a little bit of the maths behind this, so I went ahead and I quickly did that because I find this kind of interesting. So I went back and looked at the footage from when I used 4 shulker boxes full of TNT, and I worked out the average of how much ancient debris I got per 3 stacks of TNT. So the total was 40 ancient debris on average per 3 stacks of TNT used. So I'm just using blackstone here as a placeholder just for the video. So what I did is I've worked out how much ancient debris I would have got if I used the same amount of TNT that I used for this tunnel bore here. So I used a total of 9 stacks per dispenser, and of course there's 5 dispensers, so that is 45 stacks in total. Divide that by 3 because I'm trying to find out how much ancient debris I get per 3 stacks of TNT. So I've gone ahead and I've made 15 stacks of 40 here. So that is the average amount I would have found if I used the same amount of TNT using the manual method instead of this tunnel bore method. So hopefully all of this is making sense. And if I look in this shulker box here, this is the amount of ancient debris that I actually found. So again, I split it into 15 stacks. So each one of these is how much ancient debris I got from 3 stacks of TNT. but this time it's with the tunnel bore. And you can see it's only 18 per stack and then a little bit left over. So this is less than half of the amount as I was getting on average when I was using the manual TNT method. So I just thought that was worth making a note of. It's a lot faster to use the tunnel bore than it is to do it with the manual TNT method, but overall you are getting way less ancient debris per the amount of TNT that you are using. So if you're considering using a tunnel bore, you just kind of have to think about how much TNT you are willing to actually use. If you don't have a whole lot of it, like myself, because I don't dupe items, I know a lot of people are okay with duping sand, so maybe tunnel bores are for you, but it's kind of too expensive to run this a lot. So yeah, that was just something to think about while I was using this. It's definitely faster, but it's also way more expensive to run. And another issue I was having, as I mentioned, is all of the mobs. They've actually just decided not to spawn around here at the moment. But there was just so many mobs spawning around here, especially the piglins. And I've got a gold helmet on to stop them attacking. But of course, to activate this machine, I have to open the trap chest. And if you don't know, if you open a chest and there's piglins nearby, they will attack. So even though I've got the gold helmet on, I was just constantly getting attacked by these things, and that kind of made it more of a chore than it had to be. But to be honest, the main problem that I was having is all of the lava. There was a big lava lake somewhere, and every time I used the machine, it just let more and more lava down. Eventually I had to go up and I just placed a bunch of netherite just to kind of fill in a part of the lava lake. I'm not going to show that on video, but that was like an hour just filling in all of the lava so I could keep going. So yeah, overall I'm glad I used it. It was definitely a fun experiment. I've never messed around with tunnel bores before. I'll probably use it again in the future, but they definitely do have their flaws. And all of that ancient debris in total was 4 stacks and 19. So I'm going to add this to the little collection I've got here. It's actually becoming quite a big collection here. And I've got one more method that I want to try before I add this to the beacon. And while I do a little bit of preparation for this final method, I just realised when I watched back the previous clips, I didn't make it obvious why I was finding the average for 3 stacks of TNT. So basically when I use the TNT method, I will usually use 3 stacks per session. And one session is about an hour or so. So that's why I found the averages per 3 stacks of TNT. But of course if you just divide those numbers by 3, that would be the average for 1 stack. So the final method that I want to try today is the wither method. I've not actually seen anyone use this method, but I have heard about people saying that they used it and that it was very effective. So I've been excited to use it for quite a while now. If you've not heard of this method, basically you just spawn a wither in the nether. You can see that I'm at Y level 15 and it just blows up a bunch of the netherrack, and then you just get all of the ancient debris. And this is the setup that I've got. So I actually found some ancient debris while I was on the way over here. I dug over 1,000 blocks away. I just didn't want to be near any of my other projects in case it does manage to get away and destroy something. And I guess the main things to talk about here, I've got plenty of fire resistance, I've got more in a shulker box here, I've got plenty of golden apples. I'm going to be taking a lot of damage here, so I'm just going to keep eating golden apples to keep my health up. I've got plenty of XP bottles. If I'm going to take a lot of damage, my armor is going to take a lot of damage too. So I'm just going to use the XP bottles to keep that mended. And fighting the wither is one of the rare times that I actually use my chestplate. I don't really use it much apart from this. And I've also got my wither killing sword here, which is the same as my normal one, but it's got smite 5. So yeah, I think I'm all prepared to do this. Maybe I should have brought an extra totem with me just in case, but I forgot about that. So yeah, I'm just going to spawn this in, and I've got a little bit of a plan. So my plan was to fight the wither like normal at first. So I would take it down so it's quite low on health, and then if I do want to kill it at any point, it's pretty easy to do that. And then I was going to start making my way down the tunnel that I dug, and I was hoping that the wither would follow and destroy a bunch of the blocks along the way. And then once it's destroyed a bunch of the blocks, I can kill it, and then I can go and see any ancient debris that got exposed. However, there's a few reasons this plan didn't work. The first reason, and probably the main one here, is that I just didn't think that withers could destroy ancient debris. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but the withers destroy the ancient debris and then the item is dropped on the floor. For some reason I thought it was more like TNT explosions, where it doesn't destroy ancient debris. So this meant that I had to run around and collect the ancient debris off the floor after the wither destroys it. There's a 5-minute timer before it despawns. So it was a little bit of a pain having to run around constantly looking out for it on the floor along with all of the other blocks that are around it. Another reason why this plan didn't really work is because a bunch of lava came down in the tunnel that I was in, so I couldn't get past there. And the final reason is because of the thorns on my armour. You can see here after about 4 or 5 minutes the wither attacked me, it took a bit of damage and it ended up dying. So I wanted to do this for much longer, but because of the thorns I couldn't do that. But of course I did go around and I collected any more ancient debris that I could see. So although the first test didn't go too well, this method does have potential, so I wanted to try it again straight away. So this time I spawned it in and I got it down to half health, because the wither has to be at half health to do its dash attack, and it's that dash attack that does the most damage to the surroundings. And I changed my strategy up a little bit this time, so instead of just heading down the tunnel like I tried the first time, I just started randomly digging 10 or so blocks into the side of random walls, and then that would make the wither dash towards me and destroy a bunch of blocks. And then of course I would have a look around to see if any ancient debris was dropped. So it is a little bit messy at times, and of course there's a lot of lava coming down from all over the place. So it ended up being a little bit more unorganised than I would have liked. I might give it another try at some point where I try to make it follow me down the tunnel. But that just didn't work out here. But eventually here it did attack me and it ended up doing the final little bit of damage. And overall I got 38 ancient debris in about 20 minutes. And then I looked around the rest of the area for any others that I missed, and I think I ended up with 44 in total. And I was having a lot of fun using this method, so I decided to go ahead and spawn in one more wither. And I was using the same strategy as the previous one, where I would get it down to half health and then I would just randomly dig into the walls and it would do the dash towards me and destroy all of the blocks around me. And then of course I would look around to see if there was any ancient debris around. And I think something that's worth mentioning just for anyone who might want to try this themselves is the amount of lag that is caused with all of these items on the ground. If you're playing on an older device like an old gen console or a Nintendo Switch, I don't think it would be able to handle this many items on the ground. Although if you do play PC or on a newer console like I do, I think it's definitely worth giving it a try. I've had a lot of fun doing it and it's pretty successful. Although there is some changes I will make when I do this again next time. I think the main change that I would make is to my armour. So as I mentioned, I've got thorns, so when the wither attacked me enough times it would die. If I didn't have thorns, I could basically do this forever with one wither if I wanted to. The first wither only lasted about 5 minutes, and then the other two lasted 20 minutes and 15. So it was only 40 minutes in total, and I managed to get a stack and a half of ancient debris, which is very efficient. So I do think if I had plenty of golden apples, and if I didn't have thorns on my armour, I could spawn in a wither and I could make it last an hour, even 2 hours if I wanted to. And then I could get a whole lot more ancient debris in that time. I'm trying to show some of the mess that was made by these things, but it's kind of hard to do so. And I did actually miss a little bit of ancient debris up there. I thought I got all of it. I'm sure there's a little bit more that I've missed as well, but I'm just going to head back now. And this is the tunnel actually that goes back. So I think I spawned the wither about around here somewhere, the original one. And the tunnel goes down there, but then all this lava came down, so that kind of ruined my plan of letting the wither chase me down the tunnel. So I'm just going to head back to the base for now, but I'm definitely going to come and experiment with this method again in the future, and hopefully I can figure out all of the little issues that I had with it and I can make it better. And I know I could just go onto YouTube and search to see how other people do it and copy them, but sometimes it's just fun to figure things out for yourself with a little bit of trial and error. Okay, so all of that ancient debris that I've been collecting up over the last few methods that I've been trying made 33 blocks of netherite in total. So I can add this to the beacon here. It will fill up this next level here. So that's 2 levels complete now. And then I've got 17 more blocks. So I think I need 25 blocks to fill this entire level here. And then there will be 9 on top as well. So I still need another 8 blocks to complete this layer, and then I will need 9 blocks for the top layer. So that is 17 more blocks in total. So there's really not too many more to go now, so the end is getting pretty close. For the final little stretch of this project, I'm going to use all 5 of the methods that I've used in today's video so far. and I'm going to speak a little bit about each of them, and I'm going to rank them from my least favourite to my most favourite. And since I started this project a long time ago now, some of my opinions have changed, so I might be contradicting a few of the things that I said earlier in the episode. But something I'm certainly not contradicting is number 5, it's the bed method. It's just my least favourite method, without a doubt. It wasn't even close. I spoke about it earlier, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but I just really dislike this method, and I don't know why so many people think it's so great. It produces similar rates or less rates than the other methods, and it's just so much more boring, so I don't really see what the hype is about. At number 4, I'm going to contradict something I said earlier. So number 4 is the tunnel bore. When I tested this out for the first time, I said it was my favourite method so far, but since then I've used it quite a bit more. I've seen a few flaws with it, and it only gets the 4th spot on the list here. I did enjoy using it, and I will definitely be using it again in the future sometime, but there is a few problems, like all of the lava that comes down has to be removed every single time. There's also a bunch of mobs constantly spawning which are a problem, and for some reason it seems to just randomly explode now and again. But I think the biggest issue is how expensive it is to run. It's much cheaper just to use the manual TNT method. It takes a little bit longer, but it's way cheaper than using the tunnel bore, so that's why I ranked it down in 4th spot. And speaking of the manual TNT method, that makes it into 3rd spot here. If I made this list at the start of the project before I tried all of the other methods, I definitely would have ranked this in 1st spot, but after experimenting with a few new methods, it has moved down a little bit. And the reason is because there's a few flaws with the method which are pretty similar to the tunnel bore method. So of course there's always a lot of lava that's coming down. You don't have to clear the lava like you do with the tunnel bore method, but I still usually do it anyway. There's also a bunch of mobs that are always spawning that make it a little bit more tedious, and even though it is more efficient on the TNT than the tunnel bore method, you do still need a lot of TNT, which means collecting a lot of sand. So I do like these two methods overall, but if I wasn't against sand duping, they would probably be higher up on the list. But because I don't agree with sand and TNT duping, they make it into 3rd and 4th spot instead. So that means in 2nd spot is actually quite a surprise even for myself. After I used the strip mining method earlier, I said I wasn't a big fan, but after using it some more, I actually really enjoy this method. It's really cheap, all you need is a pickaxe. Of course a diamond or a netherite one with unbreaking and efficiency is the best. There's no mobs to deal with like some of the other methods, and it's also a lot easier to deal with the lava. Instead of getting big lava pools pouring down, you just get the occasional pocket of lava which can easily be blocked up with just one block. So it's cheaper and it's easier than the other methods, and it also produces pretty similar rates. I was getting anywhere from 30 to 60 ancient debris per hour with this method. So if we call it an average of about 40, that is the same as the TNT method. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of strip mining, but after I used it more, I did start to like it more, and I'll definitely be using this method again in the future. So that means in the number 1 spot here is the wither method, and there's a few reasons why I like this method so much. The first reason, and probably the most important reason, is because it's just a fun method to use. At the end of the day, it is just a game, and we play games to have fun. And I had much more fun using this method than any of the other methods. Some of the other methods can be a little bit boring and repetitive, and I think that's why this project took me so long, because I kept getting burnt out of using those methods. But when I started using the wither method recently, I started looking forward to using it again because I was having fun doing it. So that's a big reason why I rank it at number 1 as my favourite. But to go along with that, it's also way more efficient than the other methods, and it's also pretty cheap to do. I'm sure some people will disagree with this, but all you really need is a few fire resistance potions, and then you also need a bunch of golden apples. Of course you will also need the stuff to spawn in the wither, but once the fight is complete you can kill the wither and then you get the nether star. So most people would be doing that on their world anyway. So yeah, overall I really like this method. The issue that I do have with it is mostly for content reasons. Because it does get so chaotic and it gets very laggy, I don't think it's going to look great in the video. So I'm hoping it doesn't look too bad in the video, because that's another method that I do want to use again in the future. But I've just come back from fighting all 4 of those withers. I only managed to get 2 of the nether stars, 2 of them got destroyed by lava. But with 4 withers I managed to get almost 6 stacks of ancient debris. And if I add this to the almost 8 stacks of ancient debris that I've got in here, So this is all of the stuff I got while I was using the other methods for the ranking section. This is actually way more ancient debris than I need to complete the beacon. I think I need about 9.5 stacks to complete it, so all of this should be extra. And while I just smelt all of this up, I do know there's a few methods that I didn't try in this episode. There's one that's been popular recently where you download a pack, take a fire resistance, and then you fly underneath the lava. People are always suggesting I use that method, but it doesn't really look like the kind of thing I would enjoy. And it's not even possible to fly under the lava on Bedrock Edition anyway. I'm sure there's plenty of other methods that I've missed as well. But it doesn't matter now because this should be the last little bits of Netherite that I need to finally complete this thing. So overall this will make 2 stacks and 16 there, and then there's a little bit more in here. So that's 3 stacks and 27 in total, and as you can see here, this makes 24 more blocks. So this is going to be an extra 7 than I actually need. So after 4 years I think since I first started this project, I can finally go ahead and finish it. So that is all 164 Netherite blocks, and then of course I can put the beacon on top, and I feel like it's tradition to activate these beacons using a Netherite ingot. But the thing is, I do not actually use my beacons around the base. You can see now I've got all 4 of these, but I don't have the beacon effects. I just don't really want to use these around the base. I just don't need resistance, strength or regen around here. When the base is finished there will be no hostile mobs around. Speed and jump boost kind of get annoying more than anything. And of course haste is only useful when you are digging. So I do have my iron beacon down here. I cover it up most of the time, but this does give me the haste effect, so I use this when I dug out the base. But I don't really need it anymore. So yeah, that was a big grind. As I said, it took me 4 years. I've had this world for 4 years now, and I started this right near the start of the world. Since I started recording this video, I think it's been about 3 years. So I'm just so happy to finally get this thing done. I think it's already making the base look a lot better just having it completed rather than half completed. And I actually had a lot of fun doing this. Once I started mixing it up and using some different strategies, I started having a lot of fun. So I'm definitely going to be getting a lot more Netherite in the future. Of course my main aim on this world is to collect a full stack of every item, so I still need to get all of the Netherite stuff for that challenge. But I also just want to have one of the richest Minecraft worlds. So I just want to have loads of diamonds, loads of Netherite. So it kind of gets to the point where people even question why I have so many valuables. So although the grind for the beacon is finally over, the grind for Netherite will probably never end. But this does also mean that I've completed another challenge on this world, and that is to make one of each type of beacon. So this is one of the challenges that I set for myself. I originally set it when I first started my original Let's Play, which was in 2018 or 2019. So that was before Netherite was even in the game. But the challenge here was set on the 14th of the 4th, 2021. I think that's the day that I started this world. And then you can see completed on the 19th of the 6th, 2025, which is today's date. So it's taken me about 4 years and 2 months to finally get all of the beacons here. So I can put this back on the lectern, and I've gone ahead and turned the lamp on, so I know that that challenge has been completed. And as much as I want to just stand here and look at this for the rest of the day, I do want to do one more thing before I wrap up the video, and that is basically just prove that I did all of this legit. I know there's always going to be doubters and people that think you can't do this legit and you have to cheat to get this done, but I'm going to show all the bits of proof if this video was not proof enough already. So first of all is just a good old standard, try to switch to creative, then I get this message still. This world has always been in survival, it will always be in survival. I'm never going to switch to creative and cheat that way. But to be honest, I think the best source of proof I could possibly show is my Netherite mines down here. So this should be undeniable evidence that I did all of this legit. I did try to keep all of this organised. I placed the frog lights to indicate where each of the tunnels start. I think there's a 10 block gap in between. And each one of these tunnels goes about 400 blocks I think. And then of course I placed the TNT, blew them up and collected all of the ancient debris. So you can see here, I think I just kind of gave up because I hit lava on this one. Yeah, I just kind of gave up at the end of this one because of the lava. But you can see all of these come to about the same spot, 400 blocks away from the beginning. So now if I come back to the start of the tunnels here, I'm going to walk from this side of my mines, which is right at the end of where I use TNT, all of the way to the other side. And just remember, every single time you see these frog lights here, this is going to be one more tunnel that I dug 400 blocks, placed TNT, and then I blew it up and collected any ancient debris. And while I show you all this, I just want to go on a quick little rant about the whole cheating culture in this game these days. I think it's a little bit of a shame that cheating and duping and whatever became so popular and just so common, that when people do put the time and effort into doing projects like this, it seems that 95% of the community just refuse to believe that these kind of things are legit and the person must have cheated somewhere. And that's just a shame. Some people put a lot of time and effort into these projects for fun or just because they want to do them. And because there's a load of people out there that just dupe a bunch of Netherite for no real reason, a load of people just don't believe that these are legit. I can understand when people just want to dupe a little bit of Netherite so they can upgrade their diamond gear, or maybe they lost their Netherite gear and they just want to switch to creative to get it back. That kind of cheating makes sense because you're actually benefiting from that, but cheating became so common that now people are just doing it for the sake of doing it. The amount of times I've seen people duping a Netherite beacon and then coming over to my TikTok videos to flex about how they have this much Netherite. And then there's also people that suggest that I do it myself and they cannot physically understand why I would not want to do that. You know, we work on these projects because we want to work on these projects. I play Minecraft because I want to play Minecraft. The Netherite beacon is not even useful. I'm not even going to be using the buffs that I get from that. But if I did want the beacon buffs, of course I would just get an iron beacon or a gold beacon. People just completely misunderstand the point of getting a Netherite beacon. It's about the time, the effort and the dedication that you put into the game to get to the final project. Anyone can just load up a YouTube tutorial to find out how to dupe items and then go and get a Netherite beacon in 30 minutes. But that's no fun. Like, the project is completed in no time, you put no time or effort into it. That's just completely defeating the entire point of the project. But yeah, that's my little rant over. People can do whatever they want on their own worlds, but when they start going online and flexing this stuff, it just kind of ruined the reputation in the community. So now when someone does complete a project like a Netherite beacon, they go online to post it and nobody believes it's legit. And some people do get quite aggressive about it as well. I've actually had death threats over this Netherite beacon and even way worse than that, just because people didn't believe it was legit. People have called me some pretty terrible things. They've even targeted my family for some reason all over a Netherite beacon because they think I'm cheating just because it's common for people to cheat these days. So somewhere down the line the Minecraft community became pretty toxic, and I think the whole cheating culture is a big reason for that. But anyway, showing the rest of the Netherite mines. This is my strip mining area. So each one of these tunnels goes about 1,500 blocks. And I don't actually know how long this thing goes on for. I didn't realise that I did this so much. But I've been running for about 30 seconds now and it's still going. So yeah, this is quite a big area as well. And strip mining was one of the most successful methods that I used. Also, here is the end right here. And here is the area where I used the bed method. It's kind of hard to show all of this. It's a little bit of a mess even though I tried to keep it organised. But I think there's about 23 blocks in between these. And I just dug in a straight line for a few hundred blocks, placed beds on each side, blew them up, and then I got all of the ancient debris from this as well. And you've already seen the tunnel bore area, I showed that earlier. So the final bit I will show is where I fought against all of the withers. And this is probably the hardest bit to show because it's pretty chaotic. I spawned, I think 6 or 7 withers overall. They all kind of went in different directions. Each fight lasted anywhere from 5 minutes to I think 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I could probably run around this area all day and still keep finding new bits that I've not shown yet. I think it did go quite far in this direction somewhere. I think that actually opens up into the Nether. And I knew there'd be little bits of ancient debris that I missed, so I might as well collect this here. So there was a big open part of this somewhere, but I can't seem to find where it was. It's all pretty chaotic and messy around here. But you can see they did a lot of damage and I got plenty of ancient debris from this area. And again up here there's a little bit more that I missed as well. And I guess the final little bit of proof that I will show is over here in the desert. So this is where I've been getting all of my sand. So I destroyed a lot of this. Now this was a long time ago that I did this now. And I got plenty of shulker boxes full of sand and I used that for the TNT. And eventually I moved on just over here. And this is where I've been collecting it more recently. So I've destroyed all of this sand all of the way over to about this village over here. And it might not look like too much overall, but this was enough to craft 10 to 12 shulker boxes full of TNT. And that's how much I used during the process of getting the beacon. So yeah, I just thought I'd show where I get all of my sand just in case anyone thought that I might have cheated to get that. I'm pretty sure the video itself should be enough proof anyway. But I just thought I'd show the extra little bits of proof just for anyone who was still doubting it for some reason. But yeah, it does feel a little bit strange to have finally completed this project. I've wanted to get a Netherite beacon since the day Netherite was added to the game. So finally completing it after all these years is a little bit of a strange feeling. And again, as much as I just want to stand here and look at it for the rest of the day, I think this is where I'm going to end the episode. So again, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video and if you enjoy my content in general. Make sure to leave your Q&A questions down below and I will answer some in the next episode. But I hope everyone enjoyed this one and I will see you all next time.